Hi, my name is Nicola Mallet and I'm the Head of Profession for Data Analytics at Essex County Council. I'm going to talk to you for the next 10 minutes about what analytics actually is and what types of problems it can help you to solve. But firstly, why should I care? Well, research from MIT suggests that if just one board member is data literate, it will increase productivity and efficiency by 11%. And this increases as more people become data literate. But further to that, evidence also suggests that analytical models with adjustments and human interpretation can predict a single outcome correctly 80 to 90% of the time. Amazingly, in many fields, analytics outperforms subject matter expertise in making correct predictions. So if you combine analytics with subject matter expertise, you're likely to be at least 5 times better at making a decision than just using subject matter alone. So what is analytics? Put simply, analytics is the discovery, the interpretation and the communication of meaningful patterns in data, and the process of applying those patterns towards effective decision making. We do this every day in our personal and professional lives, whether that be using a comparison site to compare car insurance to make sure we're getting the best deal based on our circumstances, picking out a new restaurant based on TripAdvisor ratings for an area that we're going to visit, or working out what to pack for a holiday based on the weather forecast. All of these decisions are likely based on some form of data analytics, whether we like to think it or not. And that's what analytics professions are here to do. They will make best use of all varieties of data from across our whole system in a joined up way to help drive evidence-informed decisions. Or put simply, as I like to say, we use data from the past to help us prepare for the future. Analytics can help organisations to do 3 things well. The first is to plan or prepare for the future by understanding trends, emerging forecasts, emerging issues, and think about what might happen next, where and when. It can help the organisation to prioritise or target its activity to people or places that might need it the most, grouping or clustering cohorts to identify those most at risk, and identifying risk or resilience factors that might be important in your decision. And it can also help us to predict or prevent outcomes before they arise, to support early interventions and early support to prevent, delay or reduce an event from occurring in the first place. Data and analytics can be described in a maturity curve with 3 different levels. The first is descriptive analytics, which uses data aggregation, data drill down, data mining to provide insights into the past and answer questions like what has happened. This is where you will get a lot of standard reports, ad hoc diagnostics, alerts, queries and management information. We then move on to predictive analytics, which uses statistical models, forecasting techniques and machine learning to help us understand a bit more about the future and answer questions like what could happen next and why. And then we have prescriptive analytics, which uses optimization and simulation algorithms to advise on best possible outcomes and answer what should we do. As a public sector organisation, we feel very comfortable asking business intelligence questions like what happened, when and where. For example, how many people in the south of the county had a review with a package reduction? These are usually quite reactive questions and don't enable us to take action as the event has already occurred. So we're encouraging organisations to spend more time thinking about proactive questions such as why did this happen? What can I do to prevent it from happening? And what might happen if we'd acted differently? So what types of questions can analytics help me to solve? On the left-hand side, you'll see a range of problem statements. So for example, you might want to find a cohort of people within a broader population, so you can target your services or activities towards them. You might need to clear a backlog, ensuring that those who need a service are prioritised, so high-risk cases are dealt with first. You might need to deploy or schedule resources or services at the earliest opportunity to prevent more demand from coming in, and that might be using an early warning system or signal to get ahead of the curve. You might want to understand what options or choices you have, or what effect an outcome has when optimising resources, to think about what might be most suitable for good value for money. Or, quite frankly, you might just need to understand the situation better. What types of factors are most important to address when designing or commissioning a new service? Asking these types of questions and deploying the use of good quality data analytics can help you to create efficiencies. It can help you to secure funds and income. It can increase the speed in which you can make decisions and ultimately improve outcomes. Using a robust, accurate and relevant evidence base will help you to have greater confidence in your decisions and ultimately reduce risk. It is important to note though that analytics is not the answer to everything and will never be 100% accurate. It's important to test and learn as we go and making sure we're evaluating our findings. It's also important to ensure we triangulate this with other types of insight, qualitative insight, feedback from our service users and our professional judgments. It's also important to ensure our insight is linking to action, and therefore we need to be legal, ethical and transparent in our approach at all times. Because of the increase in the use of analytics and data science approaches, it's really critical we consider some of the key requirements and considerations beyond access to good quality data. For example, acting legally, ensuring we are compliant to how we can use the data we collect as an organisation, and making sure we understand the legal basis for sharing that data and keeping it safe. Making sure we're acting ethically. Data ethics is a branch of ethics that evaluates data practices and ensures that we consider the potential to adversely impact people and society. Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. So it's important to ensure that we know what the benefits are and what the risks are, and really examine how decisions can affect and impact individuals, either directly or indirectly. And lastly, being transparent. It remains really important to be transparent with how we are using data to make decisions, and really communicating the difference and the impact that it has to continue to empower and inform our residents on how we're using their data and how we use data about them and their service area for service improvement. We know from a recent survey that 7 in 10 residents in Essex agree that with their consent and knowledge that their data could be used to inform and improve health and well-being of services, and really reduce risk and harm and keep people and places safe. This indicates to us that the public's support for data sharing is increasing, particularly when it comes to concerns about services that can have direct benefits to them and their families. But it's important we continue to understand their views and build trust with using data appropriately and communicating well. And finally, I always like to say that data analytics is a team sport. It might surprise you to know that a data and analytics team will be made up of lots of different analytical skills. We can't just focus on one single component or one single skill, and we need lots of different elements and people to come together and work in unison. No, don't worry, data analytics is not just a bunch of skeletons wandering around, but it's made up of some core key skills that include problem identification. We refer to this as the bones of a project, the structure that holds everything together. You'd fall apart if the bones were incorrectly assembled the wrong way around. Data management, this is kind of the data or the blood that flows through the entire organisation and gives life to every single data project. Data literacy and data culture, key vital organs that are needed for continued operation and making sure that people understand what's available to them and how it can be used. Data science and analytics, the brains behind what we do, the statistical and data science know-how to make sure we're deploying the right type of techniques and methods to the right types of problems. And lastly, storytelling and influence. This is the body that brings everything together, the vessel that showcases the work and the insights in a way that's understandable and easy to digest so people can take action. Next up, you'll hear in a little bit more detail about how you can work most effectively with an analyst. So please do reach out to any of your data analytics teams. They're all raring to deploy the skills that they have to some of your most challenging of problems, and they get great reward in turning the data into insight and helping you to turn that insight into action that actually can make a real difference and improve outcomes. Thank you for listening.